Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is programminginanylanguage.com or black-duck.com. They both take you to the same place. And it's a place where you'll find the videos and PDFs of the code in most cases. The video is the Editing Database version 3 part 6, Editing a Record. Editing a record means giving the user the chance to make changes to an existing record. That means the user has to navigate to it. Once the record is displayed, the user presses the Edit button and the fields open up for change. Not only that, but the user becomes a decision maker. The user can make changes to any field but can only update the record or cancel the change. Update is where the real processing takes place. What you'll see in the video is when update is used, the original record is actually deleted from the file. A brand new record is inserted into the record's old position. To the user, it appears the record had changed. In actuality, the old record was removed and replaced by a new record. Let's take a look. With add in place and navigation working and save and load in place, we pretty much have our database all set to go where we can actually use it. Now we need to add the editing portion to this thing, because any database that is going to allow you to add data is going to allow you to be able to change that data. If you have a customer database, they move. You might have to change the address, phone numbers, things of that nature. You might make a mistake when entering something and have to make a change. So editing is a very, very important portion of this thing. And it's a little trickier than add, but not too much. And we're going to actually implement the update button in here and make some changes to it. So this particular video is the Editing Database version 3 part 6, Editing a Record. Now, editing a record is going to take place right in here. You can look at add as kind of using the same features, update and cancel. Edit is going to use it as well. We're going to move the selected record to the text box, flip our buttons, and then allow the user to do something with it. He can easily say, oh no, I don't want to do anything, cancel the operation. Or he can say, yeah, go ahead, I've made my changes, I want to go ahead, update this thing. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. Let's clean this up. We're looking at edit here. Here's that move selected record of the database. We even need to position ourselves on the record. So implied in here is the fact we're using navigation or something, maybe search. We haven't programmed search yet, but search could get there as well. But navigation is going to get us to that selected record and bring it up on the screen. Once we've got that, we flip things over and we allow the user then to make a decision. They can start to key in those areas on the text box and make changes to it. Then they can say, didn't want to do this, cancel the operation, and return everything back the way it was before I hit the edit button. The other thing we want to do is we want to update. So they say, yeah, this is exactly what I want to change. You want to replace the record. Now that's going to require us sitting on that pointer, looking at the particular list we're looking at. The structure is going to be in our list, and it's going to be numbered 0 through some number. We're going to keep that pointer so we're there. We're going to delete the record that's there and then replace it with our new record in the same spot. That's the tricky part of this thing. It's all kind of smoke and mirrors in a way. The user looks like he just made a change to the field. In actuality, you're actually deleting the entire record and replacing the entire record, doing it in 2 moves. That's what replacing the record is going to be, and we'll see that as we go into this thing. Set our focus and flip our buttons back so we're once again back into the state we were before we hit edit, but this time we have a changed record out there. First thing we want to do is we want to go into our form load and make a change to this thing. Our record count is sitting to 0, and we're showing that up on the screen, so we're showing no records there. But we want to set up our int record pointer to be equal to a -1, because when we come into this thing for the first time through form load, and you start your program, you're not pointing to any records. You haven't loaded anything for one thing, so you have no records to point to. So you want to make sure that this is sitting at something other than 0 on up. It's got to be a negative number of some kind, much like we use with lists and list boxes. Things like that. -1 is going to work out great. Once we do a load, you're still not looking at any record. You need to navigate to those records to get there. So we want to keep that record pointer equal to a -1 until we make a move with navigation to actually make that change, or even add. It'll pop something in there and put us in place there. So our one little subtle thing we're going to do form load is add the int record pointer equal to a -1. Then we're going to look at the click event. We're going to click on the button edit, and we're going to look and see if the record pointer is greater than or equal to 0. We can then do it. We'll go ahead and set our Boolean editing to true. This Boolean is going to be set to true so that the update function realizes we are in an edit, not an add, but an edit. So that's going to tell us that thing. So if we're editing, we want to do something different than we're doing if we're adding. We're going to enable our text box to flip our buttons. Otherwise, we're going to say, no records visible to edit. Get out of here. You made a mistake. You can't press the edit button just yet. Not available. So that's all we have to do there. So that's kind of subtle too. Not much there. But remember, once the edit button is pressed, the user then has the ability to start making changes to the data. We look at the two options then, the visual if statement that the user has. He can cancel or he can update. He or she makes the decision themselves. And if before this thing, we are cancel button, simply flip the buttons, enable text box, clear text box, Boolean adding was set to false, and the user message was set to operation cancel. That's fine. But we're canceling an edit operation now. So we didn't have that before. So what we want to do is we want to add the Boolean editing to it. We don't care what we're in when we actually hit this cancel. But in both cases, when we cancel an operation, editing and adding are false. We're not doing either of those right now. So we're just adding that one piece here. I also added the display record count here, just in case we make some changes. This probably does not have to be here, but it doesn't hurt to actually display our record count when we go into the cancel. Did we delete something? Did we add something? I don't know. Let's go ahead and just make sure we're getting our count up there displayed properly on the screen. So that'll put that there. So that's our before and our after on the cancel button. Update, it's a little bigger. Before looks like this. We're reading a data entry. We're incrementing the record count. We're displaying the record count, flipping the buttons, enabling text box, clearing it. Boolean adding is equal to false, and user message record successfully added goes in here. That's fine. But since we're going to be using update for edit and add, we now need to think differently on this thing. What we're going to do is we're going to stick a Boolean in here. If Boolean add, do this. Else, if Boolean edit, do something else. Else, we're in the wrong spot. So we're going to make a change this thing. So this is going to be the editing, the update part for the add is going to be virtually the same. We're not going to make too many changes, except we're going to stick inside an if statement. So let's take a look at this. Boolean adding, we're going to read data entry. We're going to increment the count. Display record count, flip buttons, enable, clear, Boolean adding is false, record successfully added is going here. But it's inside a Boolean if statement, if Boolean adding. If it's not adding, we're going to see if it's editing. If it's editing, we're going to use insert record to list record. That's going to replace the read data entry. Read data entry is simply bringing everything in from the text boxes. This is going to bring it all from text boxes as well, but it's going to be doing something different. It's going to make our switch in our list, which we're going to delete a record, then add a record. So that's going to do the work for us. Otherwise, the same thing's going to happen. Display record count, clear text boxes, enable it, flip buttons, Boolean adding is equal to false, and label message text equals record successfully changed. We're letting the user know that we actually did make that change. This doesn't exist. We're going to have to make this change to it. You'll notice I have another else statement down here. If Boolean adding, we're going to do this. If Boolean editing, we're going to do this. Else, if it's something else, we're going to do this. Message box show shouldn't get here. Only adding and editing should happen. I put this here as a placeholder primarily because we're going to be doing search later. So we're going to have an else search button going into this thing. So we're going to actually put that in place here where search is going to do something different than adding or editing did. So it'll be a completely different thing. This is our insert record to list record. var, new record, new person. We're creating a new record structure from the person structure, just like we did all along in this application. We're then taking everything from the text boxes, adding their blanks to it, and using substring to get the piece out. 15 characters for the first name. Middle initial text is going to be just one character. The last name is going to be whatever was typed in there plus 20 blanks, 35 blanks, and we're going to take the first 20 characters of that field and stick it into the last name. Same thing with address line 1 and address line 2. We're adding blanks to whatever's typed in there. If nothing's typed in there, we're going to have 35 blanks. Otherwise, we'll have something with those blanks in it, and substring 0 through 35 is going to grab the first 35 characters it encounters and store it in str, address line 1, 2, and so on. City, state, zip are all doing the same kind of things. The exception here is the state and zip. I'm not using str 35 blanks. I could have, and it wouldn't have hurt anything by putting it in here. It just seemed to me, well, rather than type this in, I'll just give it 2 spaces. Well, 2 spaces this, and it's only a 2-space field, and then we will substring and take our 0, 2 out of that thing. So for something in state, it's going to ignore the 2 blanks. Same with zip code. 5 blanks are going to be after the zip code is typed in. We're going to grab the first 5 characters. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blank, 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 we will grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we have 1, 2, blank, 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 we're going to get 1, 2, blank, 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 which would be kind of a crazy zip code. You want to do some other error checking for that, but it would be possible to actually put that in. Then the work takes place. We have that int rec pointer. We know where we're pointing at because navigation got us there and set us on a particular record. Could be our Daffy Duck record, could be our Elmer Fudd record, could be our Tweety Bird record. Who knows? 0, 1, 2, and so on. Once that is there, we're going to remove whatever is in that spot at that rec pointer. Then at that same record pointer, we're going to insert new record, our structure we just created, into that spot. So here's where we're actually deleting what's there and replacing with a completely new record. To the user, he just saw his changes get taking place there. In reality, we're blowing away whatever was there and replacing it with the entire record changed. That's really what's happening here. As far as the form goes, we'll be using all the text fields, so we're making reference to those things. We'll be using the LBL user message because we're going to be telling the user a lot here, whether or not they cancel, its update's complete, so on down the line. It's going to be sitting up in here. The number of records is going to stay. We don't need to access that because we're going to be sitting at something, the maximum number. It's going to be sitting there. Navigation is turned now. We're not going to touch it, but we are doing the edit and the cancel button. The cancel button is hidden behind the delete button, and the update button is hidden behind the edit button. So we have to get at the edit, the update, and then the cancel buttons to do some code on those things. So those are 3 places we're going to actually make some changes to the actual form. Now, this is our form. What we're going to do first is, remember, we wanted to get in there and make a change to the form load. So I'm going to double click on the form itself, and we'll find our form load areas right in here. All I'm going to add here is basically int record pointer is equal to -1. So int record pointer is equal to -1. And I'm just going to put a comment in here. We are pointing at nothing, basically. So that's why that's simply there, to do that kind of thing. That's all we need to do for form load. So that puts us in place there. The next thing we want to do is we want to get at the edit button. So I'm going to take the update button and send it to the back, and then I'm going to double click on the edit button to get at that code. We have nothing there at this point in time, so we're going to be doing edit. What we want to do is we want to take a block of code and do what I showed you in the screenshots a little while ago, and we'll pop this in here. So we're going to say that if record pointer is greater than or equal to 0, and it's not if we come in here with nothing, so we have no record to edit. But if we have navigated or you search to get at a particular record, then it's going to be 0 or something greater. It's going to be pointing at our list and pointing at a proper record in there. And at that point in time, we can say Boolean editing is true. We are in an edit phase. We're going to enable text boxes, and we're going to flip our buttons. That's all we have to do. What does this look like? If we go ahead and save all and then start this thing, you can get a good idea right now of what's actually happening by actually going in here. I have my form up. I'm going to try and do an edit here without doing anything else. And bang, we get no record visible to edit. So that's working great. Our form load adjustment made the change. Good, that's good to see. Let's do a load. We have those records out there. We did put things out. We have 3 records out there, but we're not pointing at anything right now. So we do an edit, and bang, no record visible to edit. However, if I navigate the top one, something's there, I can do an edit, and it flips it, makes it ready to change. I can all make my changes to it, Mr. Daffy. But update and cancel they're not doing anything. There's no code written for them, so I can just hit that thing and it simply goes out. We're simply there. So operation was canceled. Actually cancel still does work because it's doing the add piece. But update would have done something too, but I'm not so sure what update would have done because it wasn't ready for it. It wasn't Boolean editing. There's no Boolean in there. So that update would have tried to actually add the record. We're going to get out though because we're not complete. This thing is not complete until we actually coded the update and the cancel pieces of this thing. So let's go ahead and do that. What we'll do is we'll hit the cancel button first. Everything's here. We're not going to make many changes to this thing, except we want to display the record count. We're going to add that in here. Whether we need it or not, it's probably not necessary, but it's kind of handy to have in place here so we know that we're actually displaying the record count properly. We also want to add the Boolean defaults, the one that's going to tell us if we're editing or not, and so we'll add that in here. And that's all we need to do for cancel. This tells us to turn off editing if we happen to be into the edit mode. And so now cancel is done. We don't need to do anything further to it. So we can basically do a file save and launch that out of here. Now we're going to send the edit button to the back. And we're going to double click on the update button. And there's our old update button sitting right there. What we're going to do here is in the button update, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say if BLN adding, and we're going to put in some braces, and that piece of code is going to go in here. So I'm going to take this entire add routine and paste it up in here. So it's inside the the if statement. So we're only going to get to this if Boolean adding is actually turned on. Everything's going to stay the same. We're not doing anything different here. We're still going to be reading data entry, updating the count, displaying record count, flipping buttons, editing text boxes, clearing text boxes. We're going to turn Boolean adding false because we're done with it at this point in time. And we can tell the user we successfully added our record. But we're going to have an else in here. And the else is going to be else if. And it's going to be BLN editing. And here we're going to put another set of brackets. This will be the editing bracket, and that code's going to go in here. I'm also going to add one more on this thing, else. And we're going to put this message box in here that we shouldn't even get here. Only editing should happen at this time, really, because we're going to be looking at search later on, and we might be doing some of that stuff. So that's all set. Now, looking at this kind of thing, what are we going to put in the Boolean editing piece? We're going to do a lot of the same things that we did up in here. But the first thing we want to do is we want to add the code that's going to replace the read data entry, and that's insert record to list. Insert record to list is going to be a method we're going to have to create to make this all happen. Other than that, we're not changing the count at all, but we are going to be displaying the button, flipping it, editing it, clearing text boxes. So these pieces will go in here. And then we want to basically do what we're doing here. Boolean editing is going to be false and use message record successfully changed. So we'll lay that right in here. So that's great. That's all set. And we can do that nicely. Now, the only thing wrong here is we don't have insert record to list. We need to create that particular piece of code. And we can do that very simply by actually putting it right down in here. I'm going to actually put it after the read data entry piece right here. So we're going to take this code, and it's going to be basically all the same things we've got up here. But instead of it add anything to list record, we're going to be removing one and then inserting another one back into the place here. Now, I could have used all this and looked at our Boolean editing, but we've already turned those things off. So actually, no, we haven't. We have not turned it off here. So our read data entry could have been used in both cases and then simply add the if here. But I elected to actually create a new routine completely called insert record to list. It tells me exactly what it's doing. And with copy paste, it's not that hard to create. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to place it right in here. And there's our read data entry, our insert record to list record. And of course, you can see that, oops, we got a message box here. It's missing on M. Fix that up. Here's our insert record to list record. Now the error is gone now, so we're fine there. So what are we doing with this? We are, just like the read data entry, we're creating a new structure called new record based on the person structure, which we define way up on the top. We're then taking all those pieces and concatenating what's in the text fields in the form and adding them to the proper fields inside new record. Once we've got that done, we've got our structure complete, ready to go. Then we just simply take this and we remove the structure that's sitting in the list at wherever int red pointer is pointing to. And we turn around then and add the new record, this one we just created up here, into that place by inserting it at the same record point and making this happen. That's all we need to do to make this thing function. Now let's see if this works. We'll save all, and let's go ahead and run this. There's our database. Now we already tested the fact that we can't edit right now because we have nothing out there. We'll do our load. We still can't edit until we actually navigate. So we're going to go ahead and navigate to the first record, which is record 0, the second record, which is record 1, and the third record, which is Tweety Bird. And there's nothing else out there. We're going to back up one, and we're going to change Elmer Fudd. That's the guy we want to edit. So now we're going to edit this guy. And by doing that, we click on edit. Opens up all the fields. Now, I can't just type in Mr. here because we've got all these blanks in here. This text file, this text field is full of Elmer and a bunch of blanks. 10 blanks probably. Elmer, yeah. 5 plus 10 is 15. So it's full. So in order to get in there, I either have to delete the entire thing or take out some spaces. I'll just take out some spaces to show that point here. Delete these, hit the delete key, and then I can go in front here and type in Mr. and a space, and Mr. sitting out there. I now can cancel this. Didn't want to do it. And let's see what happened. I'll go back to my first record, top of file. Daffy. Elmer Fudd is still there. Tweety Bird is there. Nothing's been changed. Back up again. This time, we do want to mess up Elmer a little bit. So we're going to edit him again. I'll take out those spaces. And I'll put in Mr. here. And this time I'll hit update. Notice all the buttons are gone. I'll hit update. And it says record successfully changed. Launches me. All my buttons are back here. I can navigate to the top record. I can go forward now. And it's Mr. Elmer Fudd. He has been successfully changed. Nothing else has been damaged. We can easily make changes to any record on this thing if we want. Very easily by simply using the edit function. And that's all it is to do edit in a nutshell. Edit is done. I should remind you that if you have problems with this, it is always a good idea to bring out the debugger. It's a great tool for tracing how your code is flowing. Next, we'll look at the deleting a record. That'll be easy. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance. And please subscribe to the channel. There's something new coming every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.